Salutations everybody, it is Matty here today and we are talking about Fallout the Frontier once again. After I uploaded my initial Fallout the Frontier video last week, I was contacted by some of the devs on that team offering some brand new information to share with you guys today on the mod as it preps for launch. And on top of that, they just released 25 plus minutes of raw gameplay on their channel, which I will have linked in the description down below if you want to watch it in full. But the first thing I want to do is focus on that and sort of give you guys a synopsis. Like I said, it's 25 minutes, so maybe you don't have the time or you just want a general roundup of everything that happens. I'm going to start off with that, and then we'll get into some of the exclusive information that they decided to share with me, such as story details and character info. All that is here in this video. So let's get into it, starting off with the gameplay synopsis. It starts off with you talking to Grant, asking him a variety of questions such as his thoughts on the Crusaders, one of the factions we'll talk about towards the end of this video, how he survives in these parts of the world, and discussing what is called the Bright Town Massacre. To save time and to avoid spoilers, however, you're going to notice that this gameplay jumps around a bit, but there is a sense of continuity, which I'll make sure it's all accounted for. Suddenly, we find ourselves in what is a ghoul cult worshipping a nuclear warhead. They claim their ghoul form has brought them a sense of holiness, and that you are unholy because you have not shed your earthliness, aka your skin. You are actually given the option to join them through bathing in a pool of nuclear waste at the base of the rocket. Your last task is to accept Ghoul Jesus into your heart. Yes, really. And it's actually as hilarious as it sounds. It's a really funny quest because it turns out that this whole religion is actually a sham to make money off ghouls, but you are given a receipt that allows you to join up with the ghouls and start worshiping just like them, or at least letting you play that part. You get a look at some of the scavenger armor a little bit afterwards as you purchase it from a little shop owned by a person named Marty. No affiliation here on that one. In the same bar, you'll meet a woman named Charlie. She's a former Nuka girl who proceeds to talk up her past of holotapes flying off the shelves that she was in and being on the front of magazines like Meeting People, before directing you to a man named Donovan, who was a former mercenary. As you dig into his past, you learn his father was one of the best mercs around and taught him everything he knows. Donovan only wanted to work for good people and keep things clean, but he then learned that you can't pick and choose your jobs unless you want to run out of income and then starve. So his last job was given to him by a merchant named Dan, who hired him to rough up someone who owed him money. It turns out the person they were trying to wring dry had a wife and 2 kids who they caught on the way out from said job, and when asked to assist in taking them out as well, that's when Donovan walked away. Soon after, you learn that one of the sons may still be alive, and you've convinced Donovan to try to find him to atone for the sins of his past. Now, we'll get back to this quest, which I think is quite honestly the highlight of the entire video. It seems really compelling. But anyway, after all this, you visit another shop real quickly, and then we hop into 2 characters who are representing the NCR arguing. One of them by the name of Peterson, and the other is Mayor Oscar Copeland. As Peterson exits the room, the player breaks into the desk of the mayor to find 2 notes. One called Please Stop, and the other called Classified Potential Security Threat. A general summary of the potential security threat is that someone within the NCR has been embezzling their money. They suggest that at the minimum this is just a grunt running a side venture, or at worst it's Frumentari, aka a Legion spy that has invaded their ranks. So for those who don't know, there is still an ongoing war between the Legion and the NCR even in this part of the world. The Please Stop letter comes from presumably his son. He mentions the potential frustration of Joey being crucified and Tony being blind for life, which I believe infers based off the knowledge of this letter that these are his sons. The letter mentions how stealing isn't right and, quote, that money buys the bullets and the armor to stop Legion bullets, end quote. So it seems like Oscar here is on a bit of a personal vendetta in the meantime and is using NCR money to make things work in his favor. So the player engages in conversation with Mayor Copeland and quickly lets him know that he's aware of what he's up to, but he understands, to which Oscar gives him a key to the evidence locker. We don't see what happens after that because now we're picking up with Donovan's quest once more. So Donovan's quest brings us to the house that this whole tragedy occurred at, and we meet a woman by the name of Janice Geller who now lives in this house. When asked about the whereabouts of the one remaining son, we're told it's possible he joined a gang called the Pythons, who are holed up in a cave east of this household. Essentially, it seems like this son is potentially on the same road that Donovan is on, which our new goal is to now stop. Unfortunately, or technically fortunately because of spoilers, we do not see any more of this quest line, but it's definitely one I'm going to try to get to as soon as possible because it seems really interesting. As the video wraps up, it is us conversing with a ghoul doctor with the name Harold. Him and his brother originally had a practice open in Junkfleet, but they were forced out, and they don't really get into why exactly that happened. He's not the most experienced doctor, and his brother is apparently away on business, so it's unlikely we're going to meet him. Harold is currently watching over a kid by the name of Greg Caulfield, who has a weak immune system and is more prone to infection than others throughout the wastes. So with that, it wraps up your gameplay synopsis. I do hope you guys give it a look. There's a lot of exciting stuff to see in between there. Those are the major details and a little bit of the in-between. But now, with all of that out of the way, let me dig into a document that was sent to me by some of the devs from Fallout the Frontier and give you guys some story details, some of the major perks of this mod. One of the Frontier's biggest pluses is that compared to the Mojave, our world space is significantly more packed with content. Our programming and NCR main quest lead Devil's Wish 182 did an NPC pass on the world space where he added over 2,700 creatures, hostile enemies, friendly scavengers, and more. This means that wherever you are in the world space, you're likely to find someone to fight or talk to, so there's going to be a very active world in the Frontier, just like the Mojave. As a matter of comparison, all vanilla Fallout New Vegas and all 4 major DLCs have combined to a total of 498 interiors. The Frontier, as of 13th of February, so just a few days ago, is currently sitting at 500 plus interiors. We also have beaten out vanilla Fallout 3 by a similar margin. We're still about 99 interiors off beating Fallout 3 and all of its DLCs, however. This huge amount of interiors in the Frontier corresponds to a ton of replayability, as it's incredibly easy to find new interiors floating around that you may have never seen before. Some are small, some are huge, some are player homes. There's plenty of variety, so that's incredibly exciting. There's a lot of stuff that you're going to be able to explore, and you guys know me, that's my favorite thing to do. Through exploration, you are likely to find towns. Though there are 4 major towns and faction bases easily accessible from the beginning of the mod, there are also minor towns that have their own quests, voiced NPCs, and more. It's entirely possible to go an entire playthrough and never find some towns, which is crazy. Some are tucked away, some are hidden in plain sight, so make sure you guys dig deep. Probably realistically the most important bit here, even if it has nothing to do with your actual gameplay, is optimization, which is an extremely crucial component for them that comes to working on any mod. We've spent years bringing the Frontier to an extremely high level of stability and performance, occlusion planes to NIF optimization, texture reductions, NPC disabling, graphics performance analyzing, draw call improvements, everything we can think of, we do, which I think is very, very important. Also, load screens, they have 60 plus of them, all with custom images with an interesting art style, something that gives a little bit of flavor to the mod in between. We currently have multiple major characters in the pipeline, including all major faction leads for voice acting. The Frontier has nearly 20,000 lines of voice dialogue for dozens and dozens of different characters. Really impressive to manage there. And so now that your general factoids and impressive feats are out of the way, let's get into some of the general story details that were provided to me. These are more updated compared to the site that we took a look at just last week, so this is worth paying attention to even if you watch the entirety of that video. Under the leadership of General Blackthorn, dozens of soldiers die at the Battle of Helios 1, fighting against the Brotherhood of Steel. Blackthorn is dissatisfied with the way his men have been treated like cannon fodder and asks for discharge papers for his men. Instead, he is told that he must reinforce Hoover Dam against an incoming imminent Legion invasion. He declines and deserts to the north, to the Frontier, an area untouched by the NCR. Around the same time, the Legion has been sending emissaries north to expand the Legion grasp of the region, unifying more tribes under the banner of Caesar. Under the banner of Legate Valerius and his Frumentari, the Legion expands to capture as much of the Frontier as humanly possible. The battle between the NCR and Legion starts as soon as the two factions meet, made more difficult by the locals known as the Scavengers, who are not too keen on having these superpowers take over their area. Furthermore, as I promised in the beginning of this video, there are the Crusaders, who were formed by a Brotherhood of Steel paladin, Tasha Weaver, who was left for dead at Helios 1. She and several other Brotherhood refugees met up at New Canaan to live out a peaceful existence. The destruction of New Canaan was the crucible in which the Crusaders were born. Returning from a missionary trip, Weaver beheld the destruction of all she came to love. Possessed with fury, Weaver repaired and repainted her power armor. Gritted her teeth, she added a new symbol to her armor, a blood-red symbol that merged the Crusader cross with the Brotherhood of Steel insignia. Standing back, she believed God had a new mission for her, to reclaim the Holy Lands, to rebuild the old cities like had been done with New Canaan and New Jerusalem. The Brotherhood of Steel was correct in their collection of old world technology, but wrong in their worship. The tech should be used to reclaim the cities from the wasteland trash and establish new Mormon cities like New Canaan. Brotherhood and Mormonism philosophies battled in her mind, congealing into a strange new religion. Driven by her charisma and indignation, Weaver and her fellow missionaries formed the Crusaders and declared a holy war against what she perceived the enemies of rebuilding humanity, the enemies of God, or the unworthy, as she called them. Setting out to reclaim the Holy Lands, she makes a detour with some of her knights to give Blackthorn some much-owed payback, a man she viewed as evil incarnate. So I gotta be honest, out of everything we read, I think the Crusaders are the coolest sounding thing ever. Like, this sounds like a legit Fallout faction, like something I want in the actual Fallout games to be canon. It sounds so cool. I hope in practice when we're playing this mod that this actually is as cool as it sounds, because I really, really dig it. But that's all the information. That's all the gameplay, ladies and gentlemen. A lot to unpack here, a lot to take in. I do really, really appreciate the Fallout the Frontier developers and team just reaching out to me, being really open to working with me, providing me with the gameplay as well as the information to share with all of you. I'm really, really excited for this mod, so it's an honor to be in and helping promote it and working with the team a little bit, and hopefully we see it very soon. It seems like they're getting close, guys, so be ready. I'll leave it in your hands now. What do you think of everything I've presented here today? Let me know in the comments down below. Other than that, follow me on Twitter, follow me on Instagram. Those links are in the description down below. Big thank you to all the patrons who continue to support the content variety we've had going on this month. More to come, definitely more Fallout. A lot of Fallout content on the way, which I guess isn't the variety you'd expect, but it's been a while and I'm on a bit of a Fallout kick, so bear with me. I'll talk with all of you soon. Stay sexy, stay active. I love you all. Peace.